IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello, welcome guys. It's yet another episode of our TFG the Football podcast, and once again, due to some reasons, we are not none of us are in the studio, and I hope yesterday you all didn't have much problem listening to us, and it was in good clarity. Once again, excuses for that if any other noise or any sound that you hear. But here we are, once again, getting you all the updates of Indian football in all our possible way. I'm your host, Siju, and I have both the boys, Chiranjeet and Kevin, joining us. Now, first of all, the news that broke out yesterday. By now, everybody must have known it, but we're just going to spend few time talking about this. Now, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu was shown the red card now when Bengaluru FC were playing against FC Goa. We all know the instance. We did speak about it then, and we were all waiting for what will happen. We thought a one-match ban, but now it seems that after yesterday's final verdict that came out, he will be fined and also a 2-match suspension. I think a fine is, it's okay for a player, but a 2-match ban is a huge setback for Gurpreet as well as Bengaluru FC. Now they play 2 away matches at Northeast and Pune City. And Gurpreet was their first choice keeper, so it's a huge setback. But starting with you, Chiranjeet, isn't it unfair that Lanzarote was not even, considered, or he was let free because he had equal part to play, just like Gurpreet.
Yeah, it's a shame that this kind of decision happened. When the matter went up for review, I thought that Lanzarote would get some kind of punishment because the referee failed to spot the incitement that he gave to Gurpreet. You can justify the red card on technicalities, although judging by the circumstances, it should have been yellow card for both. But you are looking at replays as members of the disciplinary committee, and you just amplify the punishment of one player and you just let the other player go. It's just complete. I don't know. It does not make sense, but maybe it makes sense in the sense that this is the only way other teams can catch up to Bengaluru FC for now. So yeah, maybe it's a way to even things out, make the ISL interesting. Who knows?
What are your thoughts? How difficult do you think it will be for Bengaluru FC now?
It's definitely tough now. I just remember the last season. I think we talked about this incident as well. There was a stamp by Ravanan. I think he was playing for the AFC Pune City. He did the same thing on Dudu, and it was not spotted by the referee. And way long after the match was over, there was an action taken against him, and he was imposed some sanctions. So it's there, it's there for everybody to watch. The replays were available, and the disciplinary committee, although late, did come out with a decision and put the proper punishment that was required at that moment. And this was even, this was incited by Lanzarote, and that just fails me because why wasn't the video evidence always it's being available, not used to punish a player who was the one to start off the reaction that Gurpreet came about. So it's strange that one player is the only one who's punished here.
Now, Chiranjeet, who do you think will keep for Bengaluru? Will Abraham Mondal continue, or will the others come in?
Well, Abraham Mondal is the obvious choice. The others don't have that kind of experience. But even Abraham Mondal is coming off a long layover. He's not played a competitive game for months, but he will probably be, a little bit prepared mentally. He would not have to go in there suddenly in an unexpected stressful situation, and the first thing he does is face a penalty. That messes up your game for the night immediately. But yeah, he's an experienced keeper. He has been around for a long time. He's gonna be fine. Bengaluru FC are facing Northeast United and Pune City.
Pune City.
Yeah, so I think the defenders will have to take up the extra responsibility. It's not that Brahmandal is somebody you cannot trust, but yeah, he's not Gurpreet. So some extra work has to be put in by the defenders. Overall, I think they're going to be fine.
Okay. It'll be interesting now. This puts in and shows well. It also might just answer questions if Bengaluru can play well without Gurpreet. We'll have to wait and watch. It's all boiling down to those 2 away matches. We'll have to wait and watch and see how it goes for Bengaluru FC. Now moving on to I-League now. We got a chance to witness another great match from I-League. It was between Indian Arrows and Minerva Punjab, Minerva Punjab had a clinical performance against Indian Arrows. They didn't give a chance for them to get back. So in the second half, it did look like Indian Arrows were fighting, and they put in all their chances and heart out there, but Minerva was just too good and a better team on the field, and they're right now on the top of the points table with 2 wins and a draw. It's an amazing start for Minerva. Kevin, your thoughts on the match? A great game, right?
It was, the way you put it. I think there's no better way to start off saying this was a real test for them, and they did not come out with flying colors. The reason I think the first game looked so good was because Chennai City were actually never in the game, and this was where the real problem began for Indian Arrows. They were not able to catch up with the speed of the Minerva players, and even though they knew Chencho is the one who's going to be the target man, who's the danger man for them, but it was difficult to catch for the Minerva players. They were just superior in many ways from this Indian Arrows team, and this was expected. One game you can just write them off, saying, okay, this was a good performance. It's not going to be same from all sides, especially a team which is trying to use both sides of the gameplay, the physicality. We've seen the foreigners, how much physical strength they have, and it required almost 2 or 3 players to get somebody like Lago down. Dano was there in trying to create problems for this team. First half was all Minerva. No, they didn't stand a chance. Indian Arrows. There was one occasion where they did manage to split open the defense, but again it was too wide of the goal to even put any pressure on the goalkeeper. So this will happen, and I'm sure it happened early in the game, early in the season for Indian Arrows. Going forward, they do understand what kind of challenges they will be expecting from more physical side. So this was just one of the bigger tests that is coming along their way.
Now coming to you, we had a pretty off late start to the game with the lights at the stadium going off, and it had to be stopped and then resumed back again. What was all of that about?
Yeah, I think a generative failure, as it usually happens. Happened in Vasco last season actually. Churchill Brothers versus Mohan Bagan. Yeah, that was worse because that game had to be stopped for 40 minutes before it could resume. This was much better. You just within 10-15 minutes the match started, so hardly any complaints. Remember that Bambolim was not supposed to be a venue. They just had to move the game because Ambedkar was problematic, and there were problems with JLN Stadium Delhi as well. So this performance from Indian Arrows, I like the way the difficulty levels are slowly going up for them. Chennai City at the beginning Chennai City had no shape, no form. It seemed like, just a few individuals out there. This time they faced a unit that adjusts its game plan according to the strength and technique of the opponent team, and really pushes as a squad for results. And this was interesting, the way Indian Arrows handled themselves under pressure. And you cannot say that they did bad all the time. They did defend well. At times they got physical with players who are like 7-8 inches taller than them. Probably had another 20 kilograms heavier or something like that. They really turned up. Even at points, who was the player? William got fouled pretty badly at times by Boris. So they're trying to show up. But of course, the way Minerva kept them under pressure, it's like you just make one clearance and every single time they're making it a long throw and making it feel like a corner set piece thing. So I don't think Indian Arrows have experienced this. Even when they are facing Ghana or somebody else, they don't have this kind of height disadvantage. It's like aerial ball. They had no chance. Eric was so much taller. Chenjo was taller. William was taller. Lago was taller. What would they do if somebody has seen something in the height? So they were heavily physically disadvantaged. They had Minerva Punjab FC have a lot of Indian youngsters, but their international players are very experienced, and that showed. They just calmly dealt with the kids. So it was like a practice game in a way where you just pit your team against a very much more experienced opponent just to see how they learn from these situations. It was an interesting game to watch that way.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, coming back to you now, as a coach of a team, of a young team like Matos is to Indian Arrows, with 2 matches gone, 1 win and a loss, how do you take things forward? And what would your, as a coach, what would it be like a dressing room talk, or what would be the plan for the upcoming matches?
So when you do encounter something like this, now what Kiranjit was mentioning, the physical aspect of the game comes very much into play when you're playing a league. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you say, for example, for the next game to play out a draw. It's good. It's a good result because down the line, I think pocketing 1 victory and getting 1 draw is decent. It's not bad. And this will have to be taken into account that there will be teams who will try to play physical and play and have the plan according to that. So there were defensive problems. I have to say that at times they defended well, but at times they were just back to how they were when they played in the World Cup, just trying to clear the ball at the first instance. And that is a sign of a team that's cracking under pressure. The time when you see the defense handling the ball under pressure, trying to start the game, playing from the back, is when you see the maturity coming in. These are the points I think that will need to be imbibed in the team as they start playing physical side. Obviously, every team that they will face from now on will be just like Minerva, taller, stronger, faster. And how the coach approaches this game and how the players are groomed to get us accustomed to that is what needs to be taken care of. But I don't have too many doubts that this is impossible. Obviously, you can play out a draw against a much physical side, and so using the pace that Indian Arrows has, they can play on counter attack. The only thing that will require is that handling of pressure, so not clearing the ball hastily, trying to keep the ball with the midfielders coming back in, adding more pressure, pressing the ball when the opposition have the ball in their half. these are small things that they will have to work on, and I'm sure as time goes by, the physical aspect of the game of the opposition will just vanish away.
Yeah. So before we move on this short break, one final question on this point to Chiranjeev. Now, Minerva are looking really a good side, okay? Like I mentioned earlier, 2 wins and a draw, they're on the top of the points table. But how do you think they should be approaching the other matches? And it's a long season and they are yet to face the other teams as well. So how do you see that happening?
Yeah, they got a bit lucky against Mohun Bagan because Mohun Bagan were playing at maybe 50-60% of their capability as a unit. As time goes by, they're going to face more and more difficult teams. They're going to face East Bengal, Mohun Bagan away. They're going to have to make trips to the northeast. They're going to have to, face Gokulam at home. I think Gokulam, by the way, are going to get exponentially better as time goes on. So this is early in the season. They are at the top of the table. They have no time to be complacent. I don't think they have yet shown anything that immediately makes you say, yeah, this team is going to be in the top 4. They have a long way to go. But then again, ISL FC, when they were on a championship run, people did not really start taking them seriously till March. Whoa, they're still there. So it's like that. They have to make prove the doubters wrong by consistently getting points from difficult games, and this was not one of them. This was a good performance. You can see that how they are altering the strategies. Like Chencho, after the first game, he was put under heavy guard, so he just tries to move to the left and put in crosses and gets an assist that way. Chencho just becomes a very different kind of a player simply because he's under heavy guard, but he's still effective, right? He still gets you the goals. So these are the little kind of things that they need to keep coming up with as other teams keep figuring out their players and try to implement their own strategies on them. So interesting times coming up.
Yeah, well, it's a long season and we have many more matches to come, and we'll both have, see these two teams and the other teams, how they fare well. Now it's time for a short break. On the other side, we have a nice match tonight. Hopefully these two teams that are going to play, that Delhi and Jamshedpur, finally show something, because they started off in a good shape. Actually Delhi did, but it's very, after that it's been a dead game from them. So hopefully they show something that's there tonight in tonight's clash. We'll talk about it more on the other side of the break.
Hi, I'm May, and I'm a huge fan of the indie music scene in our country. A scene that's relatively underground, even though it sometimes speaks its head overground, but there's no shortage of talent, and I get the privilege of interviewing some of the most awesome musicians on my show. I've had the likes of Euphoria, Krish Kale, Hardcore, Randolph Correa. I've had singer-songwriters, folk singers, electronic music producers, playback singers, rappers, fusion artists, instrumentalists, classical musicians, and so on. Whether mainstream or not, these people have chosen to release their original music, and these are the people currently shaping the direction in which our music scene is heading. Join me on my show every Monday and tune in to discover the unique talent coming out of India today. You can catch Made in India on your favorite podcasting app or our very own IVM podcast app.
Welcome back, guys. And before we head on to the match preview between Delhi and Jamshedpur, ATK have a very sad and a bad news. A huge setback for them. Eugeneson Lyngdoh has suffered a knee injury, and it is to be feared that he may be out for the whole season. We are still awaiting reports. So is that right, Chiranjeev?
Yeah, some scans apparently are being done as we speak. It's going to be a couple of days before we get a full picture, but that's the fear, yes, that he may be out for the rest of the season. And we don't know what that means, rest of the season. Does that mean he's out till March, till ISL ends? Does that mean he's out for Super Cup as well? If he's out for Super Cup, he misses India's matches in March. One match at Kyrgyzstan away and another possible friendly game that they're going to play before they play Kyrgyzstan. So very unfortunate situation that's happening.
Yeah. Also, I mean, adding on to the misery of ATK that they're not being able to fire like they've been doing in the past. So I think this is going to add on to them. But let's see.
Yeah, one point here. Robbie Keane is probably coming this week or next week. So they're going to have that. They're apparently talking to Komal Thatal as a replacement for Eugeneson Lyngdoh. Good luck with that. But it's not that Komal Thatal is a bad player. He's not going to be as effective as Eugeneson Lyngdoh in his first senior season. So look at the situation here. If this had happened at an I-League club, that because of a bad pitch a player gets injured for the rest of the season, you would see this all over social media. Unprofessional. These clubs don't deserve to be in ISL and all that stuff. That the usual pile of shit that is spewed on social media. Look at this. This is a franchisee in ISL that got in months ago, and they had been working on their pitch for 5 years.
Also, footballing history to their back.
They do have that. The pitch is new, but they have been working on that stadium for 5-6 months.
Yeah.
But is it professional to plant Bermuda grass and play a match on that within 1 month? Is it really professional that freaking horse stable that they played on with large chunks of grass coming off every time somebody falls, and multiple players got injured? This is just the one that is if you lose a season from your career, especially in the place that Eugeneson is, it's career threatening. So he has. How can you justify this? How can you call this professionalism, and how can you have this if you're gonna be the next top division league of the country? So very unfortunate that the players were put into this position, and this kind of shows that behind the glitter and glamour, how much of the ground is still to be covered, pun intended, when it comes to truly becoming professional.
Yeah. We'll bring you all the updates as and when the reports come out, and we'll get you all the confirmation on Lyngdoh's injury. Now, moving on, we have another game, and the ISL resumes after 2 days. Delhi take on Jamshedpur. Now, they are hosting. Delhi is hosting a second home match. Even there are a lot of things going on related to pollution and stuff like that, but let's see. I hope the players don't suffer due to that. Now, because these two teams are actually struggling at the moment. Since we're starting off with you, Delhi started off with a bang, but then it just became when you there's nothing more now. It's only talks, but their actions don't really talk louder than their words. And on the other side, Jamshedpur are yet to score. They've been having a goalless draw all their matches. Also, Delhi are the team that have conceded the most goals at the moment, 8 goals to be precise. So both these teams would be desperate to get 3 points tonight.
Well, considering Delhi's defensive record, this is the best opportunity for Jamshedpur to break through and finally get a goal. Your entire attacking lineup sort of starts feeling demoralized if you are just not scoring. You're not conceding as well, but you have to get goals to get the team going, get the team spirit up. Hopefully they go for all out attack and not put up a cagey performance. I know this is another away match, so a draw in this is not technically bad, especially when you're just trying to make the top 4. I hope they try to put up a show for their fans back home. One of the factors that's going to be at play here, which is against not something the bigwigs want us to talk about, is the air quality. It affects you. You are aware acutely that when you are going out in the open, when you run harder, you breathe harder, and you destroy your lungs worse. I don't know how that situation out there in Delhi is not comparable with second-hand smoking.
So, yeah, you are putting the players out there. They're going to run around. You're going to expect them to put in like 110%, which means sudden acceleration and just going beyond themselves. So you're expecting them to breathe like 5-6 times harder than they would under normal circumstances. So what gives? This is also damaging players. So yeah, even the question is does this play in a player's mind? Does this affect them mentally to consider that if I make this run up the wing, I will damage myself more? So yeah, just a sad situation again.
Yeah. Kevin, your thoughts on the game? These two teams look really desperate.
Desperate is the word for both teams, but what we don't want to see tonight is a goalless draw again. So obviously Jamshedpur will be the happier side. They will not lose the game again. 1 point is what they will pocket, but is that what they want? There are problems for both sides now. The Delhi did get off to a good start, but what did they do after that? They kept shifting, they kept rotating players, and you start rotating your players too many times. So this is going to affect your team. You see in the last game that the performance that they put up against Northeast United, 2 goals were conceded, and only after that we saw some reaction from the team. Again, we saw Changte coming in the second half or so, who was excellent in the first game for them. Then there was Minerva, who did not play all 3 games, who was so good in the first. So what happens here is, your team is not got used to a set of players. We call a core group of players. It's not prepared for the best of games, and you make changes to that. So it's not going to be helping your team anyway to get at least the stability that you want. But somewhere down the line, maybe it's the preparation for a longer season. In a way, it does help you, the team, in one way is that coming some injuries, this is going to be helpful, because this player can play in that position for this long. The strategy can be applied. It's okay to do it, but then if you start overdoing it, this is the effect that you have. You do not get any results in your favor. For Jamshedpur, I think it's a case that everything has been tried by Kopel and nothing's working. There's something is missing, and it's not that he's able to find that out. If it was, I think they would have got a goal by now. Remember the situation that Kopel was in at Kerala Blasters in the last season. Very similar to what it is right now at Jamshedpur. That they were not able to get a single goal or even proper shots on target. And Jamshedpur are going through that same phase. Duty, who was expected to do so much, is just not firing. So who else there? There is Memo, there is Anas in the defense. Now Anas missed out in the last game because of an injury. You don't want one of your best Indian players in the team to be sitting out on the bench and watching. He's required on the field, and it makes a difference. Your team is not winning, and your best players are sitting out and watching the game. It doesn't help anybody's cause. So the fitness again comes back. So does Kopel have a replacement for Anas, somebody who's as good as him in the defense? They've been okay. Thiri and Anas, one of the most defensive experienced pair, but they haven't been able to get things right. They haven't been able to push their wing backs a little more further up. But there will be problems unless they understand what's the best fit for the team, what's the best combination. So the problems are similar for both sides. So the faster they understand the coaches, I think it's how they will come back in this season.
Yeah. Are you expecting this to be a goalless match?
The way things are going and how ISL has been so interesting, I think a goalless draw wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Are you expecting goals, or again, are you on the same page?
Somebody is going to score. I'm gonna just go with on a hunch here. Delhi Dynamos may win 1-0.
Okay. Okay. Home advantage or what advantage? I don't know. Maybe their luck will favor them probably, and Jamshedpur will still be in the hanging, but we all have to wait and watch for that to happen tonight. 8 p.m. is the kickoff. Hopefully, no players damage their lungs or whatever while playing, and it's taking into consideration we see a good contest of football. Now, that's all from us. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell icon so you get update of our new episodes. Also, let us know your thoughts on our comment sections below about everything we spoke today. And if you want to talk to us directly, you can do that. We are available on Twitter, Chiranjeev Oja, Bojan_Kevin, Matthew94. Also follow the TFG football to the handle to get all the updates of Indian football. You can get on to our website, thefangirl.com, to read up on all these stories. Have a great day. Enjoy the match. Come back to us tomorrow.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.